This is Cresso, and this is part 73 of the Human Journal, Frequency Contact. Not long, I felt deeply to really go into a deep meditation. You know, I just felt like I just want to go so deep as much as I can. And I wanted to communicate with other ET beings, which is myself, and just really to express things outwardly. So I became loose. I meditate, I use my imagination. I just let go. Not worry about things not making sense. And then of course patience is required. So I meditate, and then I kept thinking about a lot of people around the world, and I was sending my own thought waves, frequencies outward about people. And I was just talking to ET beings. I felt that in this transition, I felt in me that I have a passion for different things. In this journey, I have a passion to implement ideas to inspire people in this transition of awakening. And one of the passions I have is to remove or encourage people to shift out or remove these ideas that control people, which it's an idea, it's an experience, it's a feeling. It's like caring for a baby or nurturing yourself in a different stage. And that's what the human race is. And as I meditated with my feelings and everything, a little bit shortly after, I have multiple beings that was vibrating with me, connecting. A lot of it is based on frequencies. I hear different language. It's hard to describe when it's audio. I hear translation in English because it knows I speak English, obviously. I hear different voices, and it was kind of like a gathering of different multidimensional beings. And I was just expressing that a lot of people operate on patterns of behavior. Some of the beings agree. Some of these beings are not aware of fear. They don't understand people's behavior when they see certain sightings. And I said to these beings that are not aware of fear or confusion, I said these are just a different vibrational signals that people are releasing. These are based on experience. They're not sure what you are. They don't understand the spacecraft that's operated. A lot of people in this dimension are programmed or on certain way of traveling. But these beings, they want to understand what those feelings are. So I was passing on what these feelings are. And me living in a human body, doing my journals and having all these thoughts and feelings and sharing to other beings through meditation. I even talk to spiritual beings, even when I have my ayahuasca experience. A lot of these beings, they find it, and to translate, they find it very curious or interesting how people react when they see a spacecraft. And a lot of these beings, they try to do their best to communicate through sound, through color. I've done a journal about that in part 49. But a lot of these beings, they do their best to communicate. Their thought patterns are set up differently when humans. But the one common ground that could clear all the barrier is frequency. Me and other ET beings, we was discussing about what, just envision what man are able to hone in the ability that they already have. That are able to universally connect with a lot of beings from other dimensions by frequency levels. It could be inwardly, it could be outwardly. A lot of people go about their patterns outwardly, inwardly, and not realizing that when an individual lives inwardly, they are really creating a world of their own. It's like a multi-being. You're physically based. You're physically based, but you focus on your vibrating, going about your way inwardly. A lot of people go by patterns on that. I had to express meditation-wise about how people, not everybody operate on the same patterns. A lot of people are very predictable. I observe a lot of people in comments on just, could be anything. Let's just say about UFO, or could be anything. Could be politics, could be anything. And I look at down the line, and I put myself to the test to see if I'm able to guess correctly about people behavior, reacting towards one another. And it's always a combatant reaction. I express this. A lot of people are bickering towards one another a lot. One human being posed to know more than another human being. One feels so alone and say things very angrily or say things peacefully. A lot of people operate on peace, love, kind. But the patterns, I was taking a lot of these beings that was vibrating with me through meditation. I was doing my best to take them into a lot of influence that people go about their way. I was telling these beings about people, they change their frequency or patterns by diet, what they eat, what they wear, the music they listen to, what type of TV programs they listen. They implement a lot of ideas, and then I express about the mind. How the mind is, a lot of people call it a vortex, but the mind it's like some sort of engine that would definitely suggest people of all different realities. Then I expressed that a lot of people at the moment are not aware or in tune to control the mind in a sense of, in other words, a lot of people allowing their mind to dictate them of their reality. People have the power to gain control of the mind that would suggest lots of realities, everything. People change their reality for what they eat. They change the reality of what TV program they watch, how they communicate. People, they create a discord with one another when one trying to compete against the other. And that's the reason that why humans are, they're very, I will say, in translation, a lot of people are fun to watch because it's the potential is so high on people. And then you watch a lot of people across the world that a lot of people choose to forget. There are a lot of people that live in different areas, different setup. Some people live differently from people that live in the woods, people that live in a city. A lot of these multidimensional beings feel that they can connect with humans more that live in the environment in the woods or the Amazon. Their awareness is more open than the people that live in cities, whether it's small or big cities. Not saying that the people that live in the Amazons are better. It's just that these people in the Amazon, they have less stumbling blocks in their way in terms of focus. But then some people in the Amazon, they're going through their own challenges, some of them. Try to adapt of climate change, you want to call it climate change, or something that's changing the environment. Whether it's through food, weather-wise, different things. But then you see people, whether that live in the Amazon or people that live in the major cities, they're the source of their own realities. They are. And that's why a lot of people are observed for so long. And I analyze people. I analyze myself. I'm playing my role very well as a human being. I share this with other multidimensional beings, and they feel what I feel. I say things like, me sharing this, a lot of people look down on me and think I'm crazy. I have to explain what are these emotions. Why is one human being looking at another human being as the idea of crazy? And I have to emphasize that it's a dance that a lot of people play. It's a dance. It's a dance of basically being closed off, of being ignorant. It's a dance of afraid. I go about my feelings, that I test myself, and I felt a little insecure, and I was passing that feeling on to these beings, this insecurity. I felt insecure because I want to share things to a certain way to people, and this audio, and this is what my mind suggests, that people are going to laugh. I am playing my part, if you want to call it, to educate these beings or to invite them in about the human life in a more intimate way. Observing humans from a distance is differently from a spacecraft or from different dimensional portals. It's different. But when you're in it, when you're in the human body and you connected to the mind, the human mind, and all these things, it's different. A lot of these beings do pick up people's frequency level. They could spot a human being a mile away that you are observing a spacecraft. It's not so much of the technology that they possess inside a spacecraft, it's that their thoughts, their minds are highly tuned to pick up of a curiosity mind that somebody from afar is watching and even taking pictures. So if you take a photo of a UFO a mile away, for example, they know before you even pick up the camera that you're watching. It's the frequency that you give off. I will say things and I was sharing things to other beings that people hold on to memories, thoughts. These people look at pictures. And I was expressing, when people hold on, look at the certain pictures of memory, I want to say that, pictures there are another dimensional portal. I look at a picture, for example, my mother got passed on. And I see her, and I'm in that experience. It's like, you want to say I'm going back in time, or I'm looking at, but a picture is basically a wormhole of itself. Don't make sense. I don't care. I'm just expressing for what it is. Photos, your thoughts that you formulate on a moment-to-moment basis. Every human being is really multi-dimensional. You don't realize that, but all of you are. You hold up photos. You be at a time space. You take a lot of things for granted. I feel a lot of people take different things that seem silly. Oh, that's just a past memory. And you look at certain things, you observe certain things, you take things, a lot of people take these things for granted. But that's the dance too. And I was just telling these beings that I guess I know I chose my human experience to inspire, to be part of this transition with everybody. I feel I have something to offer to my human self. And I see certain things that seems to be a barrier for a moment. They're not really a barrier, but they are. And I express about, government and military, that how these things are holding people back in a large degree. A lot of these beings do agree about government and military, these ideas, in order for the transition to be complete. The government military must be shifted out, and I'm playing my role to say that I will say that it's going to happen, and I will say it already did happen. I know a lot of people find it confusing when I talk about a process and then I talk about timelessness. I talk about now. Yes, there is a process and there is a now. And this is something that I feel with my own thoughts and everything, that can people understand what I'm saying? I pass these feelings on to other multidimensional beings. I tell them that if you don't keeping the mind still and controlling the human mind could be very tricky. It requires consistently, like focus. You could get discouraged very easy when you have an idea and it doesn't seem to be very popular, or it doesn't seem to make no sense to most people. You know, the first thing will come to you is that, oh, I don't want to do it. It won't make no sense. People are going to think I'm stupid. And this is the things that I tell. These small things that a lot of people don't take it as, well, this is not a big deal. But these small things are something that a lot of people need to understand. That when you don't control your mind and you feel a certain way about yourself, you're putting yourself in this world. You're holding yourself back. But anyway, there's just a lot of these beings are very interested about how people are definitely how they go about their patterns. I talk about everything, about driving, about different things that people do systematically. People go to work. People pay bills. They do same patterns. There's some people that do things spontaneously with no plan whatsoever. Just do it. There's some people are lonely. There's some people very sociable. There are people that like to do bad things to other people. All these things. And I broke it down as that these are just simply programs. People are a walking TV set. All these behavior traits that people, they hold up, all it is programs. And every human being could be reprogrammed by their own will. I was speaking when I go through a deep meditation. Obviously, it's inwardly. I communicate inwardly, telepathically. A lot of stuff that I'm sharing is audio. I shared it in a much shorter frame, meaning just signals. I communicate by imagery thoughts of people. That's another way of communication, imagery thoughts. I'm passing pictures to people. I share through frequency sounds to people. It's kind of hard to explain it, but I'm just telling you for what it is. And I just felt like I just wanted to go deeper. I know my abilities. I know what I could do. And I'm sharing this with everybody that's listening to this. That what I done, anybody could do. I express also to these beings, or any being that's listening to me, why do people go about trying to trick other people? Like, be deceitful. It's the mind. You know, people are literally multidimensional. They want to live in one world, but then they unmask one world to another world to trick you. But that's just a dance again. It's another dance. People are afraid. People are afraid of rejection. They figure that they must lie. They want to feel connected to one another. They figure that if I come up with a crazy story, people are going to like me. But then there's a twist. There's other side to it, that people will do things purposely to be hated. So, sharing all this, a lot of these beings they're not really so much aware on people's behavior. I know a lot of humans look at ETs that's highly intelligent than you. They're not aware of a lot of levels, deep levels that people hold up. They are open and aware of creating technology that you might think is impossible. Like, oh my gosh, how did they do that? But when it comes to emotional feelings, and we look at beings with a gigantic brain, not saying that they're stupid, they're just not aware of the complexity of the human mind. That's why the human race is so interesting to watch. And I find the human race interesting to watch. I find myself interested. And also, too, is that people are a collective. You're a collective of other humanoid species, like I said in my previous parts. And not only that, you're connected to you're connected to, I would say, an alternate reality of yourselves. I expressed that in one of my parts too. So every human being, even though a lot of people operate on a third dimensional base and five sensory, a lot of people deep down inside not realizing for the moment that they're multidimensional. It's tricky. It is tricky. You have to stop. I would say, if you want to understand why I'm saying this, I would suggest to anybody to stop. If your mind is racing with all crazy thoughts and seem to be disorderly, just stop and meditate. I will do a part on meditation more. Maybe the next part of this human journal, maybe part 74, I might do one on meditation. But I wanted to say this: just stop. Put yourself in a deep space. Don't be afraid. Breathe in and out. These are basic things that a lot of people do know. Be open. Do not be afraid. If your mind telling you that you're being silly, put that aside and keep embracing. Be open. You want to communicate with other beings? Be open. You must shut that mind if it tells you that you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. You must put the off switch. Allow the frequencies to contact you. I'm just doing my best in the audio to illustrate that I know my abilities and I'm not afraid to tap into it. I know there's much more that I could do, and I'm going through my human experience, just observing everything, the feelings, or whatever I'm going through in this physical body. It's definitely an experience of itself. Everything. The human mind might be complex. There's some beings that's able to literally, like, easily dismantle the complexity of the human mind. There are some beings. And some beings are not aware of certain emotions that man possesses. They're not. And that's why sometimes there seems to be a barrier. A lot of people are trying to do things more a one way of communication. There are a lot of people understanding that sound and light, and like I said, inner frequencies, that inner frequency is also a major tool to communicate. Also, I will emphasize on this too, imagery thoughts. Have pictures in your head, within you, okay? And pass it on. If you so happen to communicate to a being from within. Not everything is outwardly to communicate. lots of communication through the universe and beyond is communicate from within. A lot of these beings even operate their spacecraft from internally. Not always by touching things physically. There's a lot of things that man are unaware of the possibilities of life. Humans are, it's like a baby, but then humans are infinite beings. Infinite beings playing or in a phase of an infant. The childlike heart to embrace what life really is. That even though you're unaware of certain matters, but deep down in that seed, the inner seed of that spirit within the human body holds like infinite knowledge of life. And again, this is why a lot of humans are observed for so long. All humans, whether if you're in the Amazon, whether you could be a Native American, whether you could be anywhere, whether if you live in a major city and work in a corporate office, whether if you work as a military soldier, government, whoever you are. So many people are multidimensional. So many people are a walking TV set. A lot of people live outwardly and a lot of people live inwardly. It's very interesting. It really is. If anybody listens to this and I sound crazy, good. I think it's fun to be crazy. I play along with that. Maybe a lot of beings that I do communicate, I felt they're keeping themselves open for me to express certain things. But because I've been in this world for quite a time, and I pick up the patterns of how the mind works and how people act towards one another, I play with the ego. If I sound crazy, then I am crazy. Do I come across feeling insecure? Yes. But at least I know what to do with the insecurity. I just put it off. And I do what I can to be me. Me as a multi-personality being. It's what we all are. Okay, until then, I think that's all for this journal. The communication with these beings through frequency, it was kind of like ended, for now. It was a very loose, I guess I could call it a chit chat or a conversation. It was very deep trance feeling because I left myself open. I'm not afraid. I'm sorry, before I close out, in my ayahuasca, when I have these beings channel with me, I had to teach, or let's say show these beings how to literally walk in a human body, because their spirits for that moment are used to the movement patterns of their body or whatever dimension they're from. I had to show them how the human body walks. Everything. It's an honor to have that experience, but I wanted to share this to bring a balance to people, because too many humans, not all, but they keep putting ETs or multidimensional being as God. They're learning you as much as you learning them. It's yourselves you're learning. Yes, I say I am an ET in a human body. But even though they channeled through my human body, I had to show them how it operates. It's a vessel. The human body is a vessel, just like a spacecraft or anything. By me communicating through a frequency with these other beings, they're not aware of certain emotions that people hold. They don't know what afraid is. Some of them are very analytical. Some of them, they have some slight feelings of joy, but they're not angry or anything like that. They just, it's kind of like mute, like they just taking in information. You might call it like robots, but half of them are not. I don't know the beings so much what they look like. I could just tell you the frequency that I communicate from within, and I could sense the vibe or where they're coming from or the mentality. I had to show them through me what these emotions are and why people respond the way they respond when they see quote-unquote UFO sightings. But not every being operate or vibrate the same. So I just almost forgot to emphasize these things, especially my ayahuasca experience. Okay, everyone, until then, I will be back for part 74. Take care.